Here's Brody Brazil.
Now that the NHL's trade window is back open again, it's time for Sharks fans to have a conversation that's both important and a little bit uncomfortable, and that is the Erik Karlsson trade talk. Now, when the deadline came and went during this past regular season and Karlsson was not moved, there was some chatter but no transaction. We knew that he would remain a Shark for at least the rest of the regular season and a couple months beyond that into the summer. But now that July 1st is in the rearview mirror and teams can make transactions again, who knows what the near or far future brings for San Jose and any other club that's able to strike a deal for the Norris Trophy winning defenseman of this past hockey season. And there's a lot of different things to get to here from the Sharks and Karlsson's standpoints, but let me begin with this. From a team perspective, and you watching this as a Sharks fan, the sooner the Sharks can make this happen, the quicker and the better for them that they get to move on. Now, that's a weird thing to say because think of the Sharks last season. Fourth worst record in the NHL. And Erik Karlsson played every single game, scored 100 points. A defenseman hadn't done that in 30 years in the National Hockey League. So where would the Sharks have been last season without Erik Karlsson? Subtracting him from this upcoming season and the upcoming team, of course, that's going to be a huge loss. But the salary cap structure of the future is what the franchise needs, is what they're aiming for. More on how they can make this puzzle piece fit somewhere else in just a second. But think about if you're Sharks head coach David Quinn. You have the option to start your season with or without Erik Karlsson on the blue line. What do you think he prefers here and now? It's obviously the smart move for the Sharks across 4 seasons. In the immediate future, obviously, it's not something that they want to happen. But it is kind of like that Band-Aid on the hand or, on the arm thing. And you could slowly peel it off and it hurts and it pulls out the hairs. You could take your time with this, or you can just yank it off. It hurts once, it stings for a bit, but then you get to heal and move on even more quickly. And that's what the Sharks are trying to do here. They're trying to build the rest of their team, structure their salary by bringing in different players, more players, retaining current up-and-coming players. They need that flexibility with a salary cap that really has not gone up incrementally as it usually does in the last couple of years. Obviously, the pandemic and hockey as a business, only about $1 million of additional cap space each of the last couple of years, as opposed to what used to be $2 and $3 million every single season. So cap space, super important right now for San Jose. And again, this is not a move that I don't think anybody is clamoring for, that they really are wanting to get rid of Erik Karlsson, but we all understand what it means for the franchise and honestly for Erik Karlsson to get a new opportunity somewhere else. He's 33 years old. He wants to win. The time is ticking on his career, and he knows it. And this is a unique situation that there's no hard feelings on either side. And there's mutual interest on both sides to get a deal done. I mean, Erik Karlsson signed this contract specifically with the no-move clause in there, that he could basically reject any type of trade, almost any type of trade that the Sharks would make with him starting in 2019. And he puts that in there because he does not want to be detached from a successful, competitive place like San Jose, and also a place that he's comfortable. Let's be honest. He likes it here. His kids were born here. His family settled here. I think he really enjoys playing hockey in California. But he also understands that the way the Sharks are right now, what they're aiming for in the future, it might take a couple more years to get there. And under this contract, and in his most prime years as an athlete, he wants the opportunity elsewhere. He and the team are not on the same page. But again, this is so unique. Usually it's the team that can't wait to get rid of a player, and the player that can't wait to get out of a certain situation. And it's just one side or the other. But in this case, it's a mutual interest by both the team and the player to try and make something else beneficial happen somewhere else. So from my, gut instinct on this, no hard feelings, mutual interest on both sides. You name a good team, a competitive team that, has a chance next year, and Karlsson is probably interested in going there. But a main factor for the Sharks will be, in terms of moving Erik Karlsson, how much money can and will the Sharks retain of his contract. He's got 4 years left. Each one of those seasons is an $11.5 million cap hit. And so that is going to be my next question. I'll just tell you right away. That is the next slide I'll show you here. What teams could even take on a big chunk of that $11.5 million cap hit? I mean, it is automatically assumed that the Sharks, in trading him, are going to have to retain some of that. I mean, pay some of that for a different team so that their hit is not $11.5 million. I don't think there's a competitive team in the league, right? Because that's the conundrum here. You need both a competitive team that Karlsson wants to go to, but also a competitive team that's got salary cap space to be able to fit him under their current cap situation. So he's got 4 years left, $11.5 million. The number of 50% has been thrown out there. GM Mike Greer said, I don't know about 50%. You're looking at what? Basically over $5 million to get to 5.7, 5.8, something like that. About 50% of $11.5 million of a cap hit per season. But I'll tell you, if it's not 50%, it might be in the 30s or 40s if it's not going to be 50%. It to me, it has to be a significant amount because other teams really can't show interest if there's not even a possibility of it happening. And I go back to the reference of puzzle piece. That is truly what this is. Erik Karlsson is a unique, coveted puzzle piece. It's just a difficult shaped puzzle piece to fit into somebody else's puzzle from the Sharks puzzle. So which teams could even fit a $5 million player under their current cap? And again, there's a lot of teams that could do this easily, like the Arizona Coyotes, but Erik Karlsson does not want to go play in the desert. That's the catch here. It's not just any or every team that the Sharks can deal with. It's got to be a competitive team, but one that has salary cap space. Now, the Edmonton Oilers, I've listed 3 teams here. There are more, and maybe some of these are even crossed off the list. But Edmonton right now, $5.6 million under the cap. They could make something work. Carolina, the Hurricanes, $3.6 million under the cap. Now we got to get creative, right? Now it takes a couple different moves to be able to fit Erik Karlsson on your team. Pittsburgh, no cap space right now at all. And I know things change, and you basically need to have a finance degree to understand the salary cap situation in the NHL, but it does paint a picture of less flexibility for a really good team like the Penguins to be able to take on Erik Karlsson. I'm not saying it's impossible here. I'm just saying, how creative can these teams get? Can the Sharks and a suitor team get? And that suiting team, how can they also get creative if they have to clear up their own cap space to be able to bring in Erik Karlsson? So it's a lot of moving parts here. Does everybody want the reigning Norris Trophy winner? I would think so. Did you watch him play last year? Did you watch how productive and healthy he was last year? Obviously. Highly coveted. He's fresh off a Norris Trophy season, all 82 games played, 100 points by a defenseman. And this is kind of the benefit of all the things that maybe didn't work out with Erik Karlsson and the San Jose Sharks in recent years, a couple injuries and other things that happened to the Sharks. Some things, I say, out of your control, or luck just didn't break for Team Teal or some of their players. But this has gone their way. Imagine if Karlsson played 40-something games last year. I hate to speculate that. And 50 points and, point per game is still good, but not durable, all that stuff. Literally played as good as any defenseman in the last 30 years last season. And look, let's be plainly honest about it. Is he going to duplicate all of this in the upcoming season? Odds are against it. I'm not saying he can't or he won't. I'm just saying, let's be real, the odds are against this. But can he be a very good player, a critical component to a very competitive team? Absolutely. And I think that's why if you're Karlsson and you're the Sharks this offseason and the free agent window back open again, pretty soon is the time to capitalize. This is not an urgent matter. Like if the Sharks start the season, play game 1 with Karlsson without trading him, are they in trouble? No, not at all. It's not that urgent of a situation. But I would be shocked if even halfway through the next season, if Erik Karlsson is still on the Sharks. It's also really hard to project the kind of return that San Jose will want or will get out of this. But let's be honest. In any kind of trade, It's not about the players or draft picks that you'd be getting back from the team you traded with. The team that is getting Erik Karlsson, I mean, they're trying to get a steal from San Jose. They know that the Sharks want to clear up some cap space. They know that they want to try and, squeeze San Jose in a little bit of a deal. I don't know what any team wants to give back to San Jose, but I also don't know what the Sharks are truly looking for. And clearly they'll want something, but the biggest thing they'll gain, the biggest thing the Sharks will gain out of all this is flexibility and the ability to pay some of their other players, to bring in new players. They're a little bit handcuffed right now with a couple different situations and contracts, but getting this squared away and cleared up, the flexibility will be San Jose's biggest gain in any type of deal trading away Erik Karlsson. Yeah, there might be a good player or two in return, but that's not the biggest thing over the longest amount of time. The salary cap flexibility is. So again, it's the Erik Karlsson trade talk. Not something that you find yourself wanting to do, but definitely needing to do. And I think we can all appreciate the way he played last year. And under different circumstances, you'd be crazy to have this conversation. But it's where the Sharks are at right now, and it's what the franchise definitely needs to do. And look, I wish Carl the best of luck, wherever he's able to land in whatever situation it would be. And just going back to Carolina for a second, how weird would that be? Brent Burns and Erik Karlsson playing again on the same team after their time in San Jose. So we'll see how this shakes out. I had a feeling it was not going to happen before the last deadline during the season. I had a feeling this was a summer/off-season type move. And there have been talks and conversations. Like, all of that has been reported. The front is not quiet here on Erik Karlsson, but how will it happen? When will it happen? And who will it happen with? We are all interested to find out. Hey, you made it all the way here to the end of this video. I appreciate that. Thumbs up on it down below. That'll greatly help out the channel. And also, don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. That would be great, so that I can definitely see you back here next time.